Okay, we're continuing the semester 2 final exam review. These are models for the Algebra 2 review. And we've already done the first 20. I'll do problem 21 on a separate video. That's because that one requires a graphing calculator, and I'll show you that in a different format. Okay, number 22, find the zeros of the function. Now what they're talking about here is the values of x that make the y turn into 0. And since we have it factored already, all we have to do here is very simple. We set all three factors equal to 0. And these are actually very easy to solve. The first one, we just divide everything by 2. And the actual 0 is 0. Here we subtract 8 and divide by 3. And you get a 0 of negative 8/3. They're called zeros because when you plug them in, they make the y turn out to be 0. And the last one here, if we take the negative 4 over and add it to both sides, we get x equals 4. So here are the zeros. There's 3 of them in this problem. Okay, number 23 is a long division problem. We're going to be dividing the trinomial 10x squared minus 19x plus 12 by the binomial 2x minus 3. Okay, this process, you want to take and make a match between the front part of the binomial and the front part of the trinomial. And in this case, multiplying 2x by 5x will give us what we want. So 5x times 2x gives 10x squared, and we want that to match with the one above it. Then you finish the job here, 5x times negative 3, and that'll go right over here. So 5x times negative 3 is negative 15x. The next step in this process is you subtract that expression, but you're actually better off if you add the opposite. So I'm going to make this an adding and then change these to their opposite signs. And if you do that correctly, when you add these, they should always cancel. The next column, negative 19x plus 15x, adds up to negative 4x, and you bring down the next column in preparation. All right, now we're back at the start here. You got to make this 2x match this negative 4x, and the choice up here should be whatever it takes to make that happen. So if we say times negative 2x, that should do it for us. Let's see here. Negative 2x times 2x gives negative 4x. Okay, that's the right number there. And then this negative 2x times this negative 3 gives plus 6x here. Oh, I know what's wrong. I shouldn't have an x on this. It should be just a constant, negative 2. Okay, so let's see. Negative 2 times negative 3 is 6. All right. Now we're going to subtract here, but it's more reliable to add the opposite. And these will cancel, and you get 12 plus negative 6 would be 6. So the remainder is 6, and the way you finish this out is you just say positive 6 over the original divisor, 2x minus 3. There's your quotient. Okay, on the next problem, we have the square root of 112, and we're going to try and break this up into a perfect square underneath the first radical and the leftovers in the second. Now you might want to take your calculator and on the y1 line write 112 divided by x, and that'll display all of the factors of 112. So you're going to do that. And when you go to your table of values, you want to go down the right-hand side until you get to the first perfect square, in this case 16. And then if you look across from it, you'll see times 7. So square root of 16 is just 4. We'll simplify that, and we're done with that. Okay, problem 25. What are the square root or roots of 49? Well, 7 times 7 gives 49. But so does negative 7 times negative 7. So when you have this written out in words, you'll need both answers. The cube root of 125, what number would you multiply by itself like this so that you would get 125? That's really what's being asked here. And I think that number is 5. Now, if you think carefully, negative 5 times negative 5 times negative 5, it actually doesn't work. So 5 is the only answer. Okay, I should go back here. When it has square root of 49 on number 25 like this, then they only want the positive answer. That's just 7. So when it's written out in words, they're looking for both answers. When it's the radical sign here, let me use a highlighter to show you the radical sign. That's just positive, okay? Of course, if you want the negative, you can tack a negative sign in front like that, and then you get the negative answer. Okay, we're supposed to factor this trinomial, number 18, and it's got a common factor here, I think of 6. So if we divide all these by 6 here, you get 3x squared minus 11x plus 10. Now once that's done, we're going to set the stage for the final answer here. And we're going to use what I'd like to call the star method. The first coefficient here, I'm going to change colors here, should be written in both of these slots. So we'll put a 3 on the wings. And then the product of A times C, which is 3 times 10, goes here. That's 30. And the middle number, the B value, goes right there. Now the goal is to find two numbers that multiply to give 30 and add to give negative 11. You can use your calculator, 30 divided by x, if it helps you, but I think you can probably see 5 times 6 gives 30, and if we make them both negative, it still gives 30 and adds up to the negative 11. Now this left-hand side right here is good to go, 3x minus 5, that's how you write the factor. But the other side has to simplify to 1 over negative 2. Treat it as a fraction and simplify it. So 1x minus 2. Now you can check these by simply foiling it out. 3x squared times 6, that's that 18x squared. On the inside you get minus 5x. On the outside you get minus 6x. That's minus 11 times this 6 works out. And then finally, last times last is 10 times this 6 is 60. Okay, the next problem is a sum of perfect cubes. Now the easy one is at 8x cubed. That would be 2x cubed. But you might have to use your calculator to figure this one out. It's 7 to the third power. Now, once you've got that, then you're going to use what we deem the SOAP formula, which starts out with a binomial, and then you need a longer one because that'll be a trinomial. All right, you take your first base, the 2x, and you write it down and square it. Then you take the second base and you write it down and square it. And then you multiply them together for the middle term. And then you use the mnemonic device SOAP. which helps you remember that the first sign has to be the same as the original sign. The next one is the opposite of that. And down on the end it's always positive. Now, just for your information, this trinomial down here, it will never factor, so don't bother. Okay, so that'll take us through problem 28, and I'll pick up on the other side with another video.